All right, ladies and gentlemen, Raul Luna here from Reno, Nevada. I'm actually here with my very good friend, Mr. Alberto Bravo, that, I had to come in here in an emergency as he put a 4-unit building under contract. And basically, I had to make sure that things were working out, accordingly for him to win on this real estate investing game. So welcome to the weekly real estate talk show with Raul Luna. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest that you obviously are seeing right on the screen as he's sharing his information. So what I want to be able to do is, first and foremost, I want to congratulate you for making the space and the time. I know that you could be choosing to do anything else, but you decided to be wise with yourself. You decided to get the following 30 to 35 minutes and invested into getting further knowledgeable into, how to find deals and how to become a better and fine tune the craft of real estate investing. So today, we're going to be talking about thinking outside of the box when it comes to finding real estate deals. And one of the things that we're going to share is one of the channels that I can almost promise you that probably you were not thinking about. And the reason why I have this great man, Mr. Ed Fontes, here with me today is because, I met him. I met him not too long ago, but I met him to a very good acquaintance that I've known. I've known Juan Carlos for about maybe over a decade ago. Mr. Juan Carlos has been working with Mr. Ed Fontes for quite a bit now. And interesting enough, before knowing or meeting Mr. Ed Fontes, we were doing some business indirectly. And it was not too long ago when Mr. Ed actually brought me a real estate deal. He brought me without even knowing him. Listen at this, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to what I'm about to share, because even before I met him, okay, he was the type of guy that he was thinking outside of the box, and not every mortgage specialist is thinking outside of the box. And it dawned on me, and he's like, you know what? I gotta meet him. I gotta make the space to get to meet the people that are thinking differently than most of the real estate professionals out there. And that is why I wanted him to be here with us today, because he's an educator. He just launched and published his own book. He's a branch manager for AmeriFirst. And I can tell you straight out, when it comes to creativity, this is the man that you can pick his brain. If you're needing a traditional loan or anything like that, let me tell you, he has made from the deals that I sell, the properties that I sell fully renovated. Here is the guy that basically has done most of the loans on most of the properties that I've sold through my broker, that, I really never got to meet him until I said, listen, Ed, man, you've been so freaking amazing that, I want to make sure that moving forward, not only I get to know you, but, people needs to know you as well. So help me welcome here to this webinar to Thinking Outside of the Box from Sacramento, or Northern California, Mr. Ed Fontes.
Thank you, Raul. We're blessed to be here today. I thank God for the opportunity for you allowing me to be here to speak above and about everything that we have worked together on. Sí hablo español también. So in case anybody's asking. As you can see on the screen, I have various websites. Every clients apply online on my websites. We have the YouTube channel. I do a lot of education on that, a lot of videos on the market, the economy, what's going on, deals that we share, and there's a lot that I can share with you. Give you a background, folks. I've been in this industry 40 years as of June 2nd of this year. I was involved, and I say the industry because I've been involved in all facets of the industry: construction, land development, assemblage of acres for builders, commercial properties, financing units. And I'm not talking about your little nickel dime 40, 50 units. I'm talking about, I used to finance 300, 400, 500 units. Some of those units you see at the universities where they have all of those. I did across the United States. I was when I was involved in real estate in the early 80s, I trained and operated large offices at that time with a max of about 55 agents. So I know what people and how to work with people and what people do. I also am involved. I have a source of hard money lending that I'm going to share with you as well. Associated with the regional and super regional companies as a top producer. I even had my own lending company at one time, but with the fiasco of everything that's going on, it's better to work for a company that allows diversity, is which I have here with this company. Even commercial, as Raul knows, we have sources for commercial as well. I want to point out one important factor here. 40%, as Raul mentioned, 40% of my current business is turn downs from banks and other lenders. You know, as a matter of fact, Raul had another deal that was falling apart last week, and I had it ready to go in 3 days. And fortunately, they ended up sticking with the people. And, you know, Raul told them, you know, if you don't close this, you're going to lose your deposit, and you're going, you know, we're going to put it back on the market. And, you know, they found a will and a way to do it, didn't they, Raul?
They did. They closed yesterday. So.
Yeah. So I've got wealth of years of experience. I mean, in the trenches experience, guys. And I just want to share this. So when you're involved in real estate, there are always ways that you can think outside the box. And that's what this is all about today. We have to think. And this is one of the reasons why 40% of my business is turn downs, because I see a will and I see a way based on my knowledge and expertise and the fact that I've experienced a lot of these things. Knowledge is power. All of you know that, especially with Raul. When he gives his classes, you pay attention because of the fact that his knowledge is in the trenches experience that's going to help you achieve your goals, your worthy goals that you want to achieve. So here's the deal that we had. And this is where I wanted to bring this to your attention, because a lot of loan officers would have said, you don't qualify, we're done, move on to the next buyer, Raul, or Juan Carlos, who I've been working with quite a bit.
They're one-way thinkers, you know, they just think one way.
Yeah, they don't think, basically, is what I'm, you know, and this is one of the reasons why I do what I do. You know, here's the deal. Buyers wanted to purchase a home that Raul owned. He was referred by the broker, Juan Carlos. Buyer had good income and good FICO scores. High debt payments, though. They were selling a personal residence to purchase this home. They didn't have enough down payment because it was a jumbo loan. Due to the guidelines, and now all of you know this, if you're selling a home in a jumbo category, you know, there's...
What is a jumbo, first of all?
A jumbo loan is anything above the high balance. For example, and if you guys want, you see my email back up there. I'll put it back up again. You can email me if you'd like to have the loan limits for each county in the state of California and across the United States. So I have those for loan limits. Now, to give you an example, Placer, I'm in Roseville, Placer, Sacramento, and El Dorado Hills, El Dorado County. The max conforming high balance loan limit is $552,000. Anything above that is going to be a jumbo loan. So $552,100, it's a jumbo loan.
But that's in specific areas, right?
Yeah, well, they're jumbo loans. I mean, I believe San Joaquin, you know, they're pretty low, and anything above theirs is a jumbo loan as well. The 484, 350. So anything above that is a jumbo loan. So yeah, it's kind of crazy because, and the reason I'm explaining this is because when you get into a jumbo loan, the guidelines become a little more strict. They're not lenient as lenient as when you get a DU approval or automated approval on the system for a conforming loan, anything less than the jumbo. So you have to think about how and ways to get these people that want this home, right? They want your home that you're selling, your flip property you're selling. So they didn't have enough money for the conforming loan amount, did not qualify for the jumbo loan because of their high debt. So we looked at their real estate schedule. What else did they have? Thinking outside the box. So they had another rental property that was almost free and clear that had a lot of equity in that. Utilizing that equity, basically, we presented the broker to Juan Carlos, said, hey, you know what, we need to get that, we need to sell this property or have someone come and buy this property because the bottom line is that's the only way they're going to qualify. You know, and here's the thing. You know, I've always heard rejections. No, we don't want to sell that. That's our retirement. No, we're not going to. It's just slowing down the process, because the bottom line is if they really love the property, which they did, Rose property, they're going to find a way to get into that property.
Right.
Okay. We created the numbers. Raul liked the property. And as a matter of fact, it ended up being zoning a commercial property. Wasn't it, Raul? Commercial.
It's commercial, residential. It can go both ways.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, and it's in the pathway of development.
Right.
So, I mean, that was a win-win situation for Al. So here's how it worked out. We created the numbers that worked out. Number 9, we paying all off the credit debt and auto loans through the sale. They had roughly over 40,000 of credit debt, 2 auto loans, which were high payments. That's what threw them out. They created monthly savings of $1,600 a month outgo. I mean, folks, this is, you don't ordinarily see this. They're buying a big house, a jumbo house. They're putting down enough money to bring it down below the conforming limit. And they're saving $1,600 a month or $19,200 annually just by moving in this house. That's cash flow, isn't it? That's what we have to do to make these numbers work. And when you show them that advantage of where they're going to save and what they're looking at, boom. So I got, you know, and I tell these guys, and I'm telling all of you, I'm always waiting for realtors to close a transaction. With Raul's deal, we had appraisal in hand, we had underwriters signed off, we were ready to go to docs in 5 working days.
I was blown away, Ed, and I gotta admit that you qualified her. So I mean, I've never seen, with all sincerity, and it may sound like I'm overselling you, but it's the truth is the truth. That was the very first time that I understood the power behind someone having extreme knowledge, but it's not only becoming a repertoire of knowledge. Is, you know, knowledge without action doesn't mean squat.
Right.
And you know, I remember Juan Carlos telling me, Raul, I got the buyer. And one of the things, ladies and gentlemen, that I do, and I'm passing it on to all of the real estate investors connected here with us today and to all of our real estate agents. We got even loan officers, by the way, connected here at this webinar, Mr. Ed. And I can tell you straight out, one of my rules that I do now today is before, and this happened just because of what just happened, Mr. Ed, a few days ago. I told Juan Carlos, I said, listen, moving forward, a property that goes into the market, I want them to be, you know, qualified or pre-qualified, obviously with you, because I don't want to go through the issues that we went where they're, you know, they're playing the games, adding someone, deleting someone, adding it again, and deleting it again. But anyways, going back into this project is you qualified it in 5 days. You were ready to close it in 5 days. It was in record. I mean, shoot, that's what I do in freaking hard money, and you were doing it.
Yeah. And it's all about prepping everybody. You guys need to understand this doesn't happen just in 5 days. It happens prior to these people. You know, when Juan Carlos presented to them, and I got another story about Juan Carlos and how we met. But the bottom line is that it's prepping the people in advance. And you know, going through here, at the end of this deal, Raul has an investment property now. He was buying their other residential property. Raul ended up selling that property immediately to somebody else and keeping this property that they had that was mixed commercial use. I mean, it was a win-win situation. The buyers got in there and they were just, they just couldn't believe it. Now, here's this, look at the screen. Points of interest. Any other lender would have stated you don't qualify with your debt versus your income. And now let's expound on that a bit. By asking the right questions, we were able to help sell the other property along with their owner-occupied home to purchase Raul's property. In turn, Raul was able to purchase this investment property that turned out to be zone commercial and sold the owner-occupied home. Now, Raul, are you keeping that commercial property?
It's actually, it's going to go on the market in about 30 days from now.
Yeah. Now you've got, and you're going to make a profit off of that deal that normally you would not have had.
I would not have, no. And you know, I'm very thankful the fact that you gave them the option to them and opened their eyes that they could have their dream home, because this is their dream home. Even I mean, they told Juan Carlos, the broker, they told him, this is our dream home, whatever it takes. You know what? I mean, she was like, this is it. It's either this house or I will never ever move to any other. So that's when you know that someone has truly fallen in love, and you can feel it. I mean, I get even goosebumps just that she was like, heck no. I mean, I'm not moving. This is my house, and this is mine. And knowing that she
yeah. Well, I mean, and she loved it for the fact that she can have a family visit her from out of the country too. Yeah, and a place for them. So, you know, any other lender would not have asked here, guys, what are your intentions for the other properties you own? Because when I'm taking a loan app, I see they have other mortgages, they have other properties. I look at their tax returns and I see all that. Let's look at reality. When I boiled it down to narrowing down what it was, because right away they said, we're not going to sell that property. That's our retirement. Right away. Once I narrowed it down and showed them by buying this property that they were going to save $1,600 a month, or, you know, almost $20,000 a year, guys, that's a lot of money. That is not chump change. And anybody that says it is thinking wrong. You're not thinking outside the box.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Ed. So you're saying that they're saving $1,600 on the new house, which is a bigger house. Okay, bigger, like three. What is it? Their house was like,
I think it was 8,000 square feet.
Yeah, almost 3 times bigger
the
size than the existing house that they used to live in.
Right.
They would save $1,600, and I learned that their cash flow to their pocket, it was like, I don't know. You probably saw the numbers. It was more like, I don't know, $700.
Yeah. Yeah.
So between saving 16 or getting 700, which one is better?
Right. And that's how it works. You got, and I put that there. Let's look at reality is what I explained to them. So when it all came down and I showed them those numbers, look at, you're saving $1,600. You're making $700. Wow, that's a couple extra more than what you're bringing in. So if you look at this, wife was tired of the rental. She was tired of the tenants and management company, because anything, you guys know, if you're running management, and Raul's the exception because he has a great management company. He runs it well because of his experience and seasoning that you all should listen to. But the bottom line is she was tired of it. She was tired of the phone calls, management calling. Hey, you know what? The toilets, we got to change out the toilet. We got to get a plumber out there. The water heater broke. I mean, she just basically broke down to me and told me, God, I thank you, Ed. I was hoping he could sell that property. I was tired of it. And guess what? Husband, he even said, yeah, you know what? I had to go and check up on things and make sure and fix things to make sure the management company was honest. You know, here's a guy that has a management company running it, but he didn't trust them, right? This solved all their problems, even though mentality-wise they were thinking that's my retirement. Why is it your retirement? I mean, I'm saving you $1,600 a month now that you can put in the bank every month. You can put $20,000, almost $20,000 a month in the bank. That's thinking outside the box, guys. That's asking the right questions.
Let me add a little bit to this. So what we're saying for everybody who's here connected and seeing, connected here with us, is that your mortgage professional should be able, this is the way I see it. Good mortgage officers can get you a loan. Extraordinary mortgage officer are going to bring you deals, not only just getting a loan. And that's exactly what we're sharing here, is that Mr. Ed brought me a deal, an additional deal, because he said, go ahead and put the property, sell the property, put it on the market, and then you'll be able to qualify. But then at the same time, with Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos obviously told me, but it all started with the mortgage, offer. So understand that the rare channel that can be getting deals is from the mortgage officer, that sometimes we are not even thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, that Raul, that is so true because lending is the same for everybody. We get our money from the same place, mortgage-backed securities, guys. It's just a matter of which banks, which lenders are going to charge and have their different types of profit. Thus, there's a lot of these loan officers that don't think outside the box, number one. Number two, this is one of the reasons why 40% of my business is turned downs from banks and other lenders. And I've done this not only with Raul, but I've done this several times with clients, you know, getting into selling 3 of their properties, 4 of their properties, you know, financing some of their free and clear properties that they have as rentals to get into another property that they really truly want to be living in, their song, so to speak. So, you know, what we do basically is, and this is number 3 that I have here, is we work numbers that will work for maximum qualifications, underwriting approval, satisfy borrowers' credit issues, create a comfort level on future monthly payments on home they love, and show benefits of increasing in home value for the future equity with the down payment provided. These people are walking into this place almost 60%, 40% equity into this place on a conforming loan. So you got to remember, that's also equity. Do we see, I put out a video the other day, do we see the economy going down? No. Based on Wall Street Journal, the CFOs of that were interviewed at Duke University and the National Business of Economics, they all stated that we may see a slowdown nationwide on appreciation from 6 to 7% down to 3.5 to 4%. Guys, that's still a positive number. The only way that we're going to have issues coming down the road, and the reason I'm saying this is because opportunity is galore for you guys. And the only reason I'm saying this coming down the road is because of the fact that the interest rates are going, and right now you've seen today, yesterday the market tanked. The interest rates are going to be stable and steady that everybody can afford, because the feds are even talking about dropping it another 3/4. Now, bear in mind, 3/4 doesn't affect us, but it affects your credit cards, your auto loans, but it affects your ARMs, your adjustable rate mortgages. And bear in mind, those adjustable rate mortgages, a lot of you folks use. I've used T-bills, fixed for 5 years, fixed for 7 years. A lot of those things basically are people like yourselves that are doing bank statement loans, 12 months, 24 months, bank statement loans just to get in these properties. Yeah, the rates are high, 5.5%, 6%, 7%. But the difference is you're getting into these properties with 20% down, some of you, not as much as 40% down like you do with hard money or things of that nature. But the bottom line is that this economy is going to be further enhanced with the fact of 3.5 to 4%. It's still a positive number. It is still a positive number. And so that basically is going to bring out a lot more buyers for your properties. Your properties.
Do you think the rates, Mr. Ed, are going to continue to go down?
We're going to see, everybody asks the same question. Hey, Ed, the rates dropped. Was my rate dropped? We were already priced into the market. Bear in mind, we get our money from mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage-backed securities falls under the law of supply and demand. The law of supply and demand dictates. So with Germany just announced that they may have a recession, with Hong Kong and the tariffs and the issues we have with them, and in Italy and everybody else, and Britain basically, a lot of these countries put their money in Argentina. You just heard Argentina went bankrupt yesterday, or they're going bankrupt. A lot of those countries put their money into our mortgage-backed securities, which are, our bonds. This is where every single bank gets their money to loan from. Period. End of story. Call it a day. I don't care who you are. That's where we get our money. When that money comes in, like right now, we have an influx of money because mortgage-backed securities is a safe haven to park money at. They're going to get a steady return. That's not a big return, but they're not going to go negative, and they're going to get a steady return. Once the market adjusts, you're going to see why, like yesterday, interest rates, the cost of money went up a little bit because people were pulling out the money to go into corporations in the United States. And you saw the stock market. So anytime you see the stock market going up a bit, mark my word, you're probably going to see interest rates or the cost of interest rates going up. So that 3.75 today, interest rate, 30-year fix, was that yesterday, was at say before the crash, it was, par pricing, no points. Today that could be, a quarter to a half to even 1 point, depending on FICO scores and loan to values. So that's where it adjusts. As far as rates, we're going to see rates steady, even if they drop it 3/4 of a point, what they're talking about in September. That's the Fed funds rates, guys. That's what banks loan overnight to each other and towards the credit cards and auto loans and T-bills. So, and LIBOR arms. So those are where those rates are going to affect, but eventually we will trickle down. And the reason is because we may trickle down depending on the Feds, because of the fact that they want to steer the economy. And right now, if you looked at manufacturing is zero right now because a lot of new home developments had stalled. Right now, we've got a lot of permits that have increased. And with the permits that have increased, guys, guess what? We got homes, because I deal with new home builders as well. We got homes that are going to be ready to close, October, November, December. Once people move into these homes and once you sell your homes to clients, guess what? Manufacturing ticks up because those people buy big ticket items. They buy refrigerators. They buy washer and dryers. They go to Home Depot. Home Depot stock is going to go up, right? I mean, that's really what the economy is all about. So they're going to maintain rates. Trump has a vested interest. Now, I'm not going to talk political here. I don't talk politics, guys, but I'm going to explain to you, Trump has a vested interest in our rates. And the reason being is because of the fact that all of his casinos, his golf courses, his huge units, buildings that he owns, commercial properties that he owns all over the world are tied to LIBOR arms and T-bills. Bet you none of you knew that, did you? Every single time that they drop this Fed's funds rate by 0.25%, that's that much more profit he makes. So he's no dummy in trying to keep the Fed's funds rates down. He has a vested interest in that, guys. That's a businessman. But anyways, getting back to our thing here.
Let me ask you this then, Mr. Ed. So basically what we're saying is if you build so that people can understand that they should be building a very strong relationship with their, loan officers. In this case, they can reach out to you, obviously, for any loan questions or anything, that they may need. But would you say that, because you get to obviously see everything on someone that is applying on the loan, and if the loan officer is thinking outside of the box, is a creative person that brings different angles of solution, those are the people that, like how can you know, like how can you actually know if the loan officer is creative or not, creative or not, or how can you find those type of people?
That's a great question, because I've seen in my span in running people and being a manager all these years, there are different walks of life that come into our industry. I've seen people that get it right away. They know how to, you just show them the ropes, explain this is what you're looking. Here's everything I'm showing you guys here on the screen is what I do day in and day out. But teaching that to somebody is like I was explaining, to Raul, I had to let go of a few LOs because they just didn't get it, and they were better off going to work, somewhere and getting a paycheck to provide for their family. And some of you out there probably agree with me on that. You've seen some of those guys. It takes somebody that's savvy, that's street sense, that knows the questions to ask, number one, that knows where to go and what program to utilize that'll best fit the needs of that buyer, of your buyer. And really, I've seen some old guys that have been in the industry as long as I have that just don't get it. They're just order takers. And that's why I say it's a great question, Raul, because to this day, there are a lot of order takers out there. And you need to ask the questions. Are you saving deals? Because again, 40% of my deals are turndowns from banks and other lenders. People know to call me right away. At one point in time, back in 2001, 2002, 80% of my business was turndowns from banks and other lenders. 80%, guys, until these realtors started coming to me direct. So people, and word is still out that people come to me when they're having a deal, just like the other day with your deal. Juan said, hey, Dad, get this deal, we're done. but because we can figure out. And so you're going to need to ask, you know, a lot of the loan officers out there, and those loan officers that are listening to me right now, do you always ask the right questions on how to formulate a transaction? You know, when somebody tells you, no, I'm not going to sell that rental, that's my retirement. I'm going, well, and I have it right here. You know, even with the 401k. Now, here's another tidbit, guys. I've had clients that have had thousands of dollars in their 401k, and they said, oh, well, no, we're not going to touch that. And I go, really? You're only making a merely 3% or 6% when I look at their statement? But yet you can move that and transition that money from one investment to another. Think about it, guys. One investment to another. You're going from a 401k into a real estate property that's going to be providing a cash flow by utilizing that amount of money as a down payment, right? Don't you agree?
Right.
Because that's where you create the difference by finding out what the true needs are. Because their true needs are, that thing's not even working for them. And you guys know that, right? Those are things that you have to think about. Do you have any other properties you can use? Do you have someone that can help co-sign to qualify? If we get you, now here's the main question, guys, because when you send me a client, this should be your first question out of their mouth. They're looking at you, they want to buy a house, you know, or they're looking at your property. And here's the question you need to ask. If I can get my lender to get you pre-approved today, are you willing to write an offer today? Right? Why? Because the bottom line is you need to move on to get that property sold. This is a business. You are a business person, as Raul has stated. Raul trains you, educates you as a business person. And that's where you have to go and see the difference between a loan officer that knows what they're doing and he's okay, but the difference between a loan officer that helps create the opportunity to do more deals for you, to close more transactions for you, and as we've seen in this case, to bring the transaction to you based on the information they have if they've got other properties. And that's really what it boils down to. I mean, even if they don't want to sell that investment property, if the rentals command to break even on that rental property with down payment, which I've done for other clients, they didn't want to sell it, but they had it almost free and clear. We refinanced, pulled that money out, and they bought the other house. You know, so they're at 50% equity on the new house because they put so much down, but the money they borrowed from is cash flowing and making that payment. You know, things like that, guys, you have to think outside the box because they didn't want to sell a property, but that was you know, some of these owners right now, there's a lot of people that have equity. There's a lot of people that have equity. It's just a matter of making the transition to show them, you know, and that's part of what you can do is explain to them, look at, we're going to shift this investment to another investment. This investment that you're going to shift it to is probably going to be a better return in the long run, right? Real estate property appreciation.
Right. Especially now, now that the interest rates are so freaking low that,
exactly, you
know, almost anywhere, this is what people don't get it. And I think it's important to know. If you're borrowing at 3.75 or 4%, I mean, everywhere you go, at least the way I invest, I'm making anywhere from, you know, 7 to 8 to 15% on the money, if not more.
Right.
And in some instances, even infinite returns. But without even exaggerating, if you can get your money to make 8% and borrowing it at 4%, that difference is doubling. I mean, right off the top.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I say this throughout my whole career, numbers do not lie, Raul. Numbers do not lie. I don't care how you work them. They will come out and they will tell you. And you know, you got your formulas because I have my formulas and our little cheat sheets that we say, okay, this is going to create a good return for you. But in reality, you're right, because right now, some areas, like in our areas, El Dorado, Sacramento, and Placer counties, and I know some of the Bay Areas in Southern California because I do loans in Southern California as well, throughout the whole state. There's some pockets areas that just as you mentioned, we're not the norm, 6% appreciation as a nationwide, as the feds say. Some of our areas have 15, 20, 25% appreciation, depending on the pockets you're in, right?
Right, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know how healthy that is, but
And people don't realize they're scared to invest on something in those means, because when you're talking about investing, either you're going to do one or two things. You're going to keep it or you're going to flip it, right? And if it's a really great deal because you're in the business, you're going to run across these deals. That's why you're in Reno right now, because you're going to run across these deals that will make you decide, am I going to keep this for long term, or am I going to take it and flip it and move on to the next one, depending on what type of return I'm going to receive, right?
correct, totally.
Yeah, numbers don't lie, guys. Numbers don't lie.
When it's bought right, Ed, when it's bought right, it makes sense. Going back to the deal that you brought me,
Right.
Tracy, the little cottage right in front of the mall. It's very simple, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Equity. There was equity for the sellers. There was also obviously a profit built in for our end. They got what they really wanted it. I got what I believe it was a fair trade, and at the same time, it was all because it started with you on the mortgage side that trickled down to the broker, that the broker brought it to me, that it's one of those things that people just need to understand, that always be thinking multiple ways.
Right.
If it doesn't work one way, it could be working a different way. And you just got to be willing to ask, be willing to just, provide, I guess when you're calm and willing to, and this is what I wrote down. I said, even, when you ask quality questions, you're going to get quality answers. And it boils down to make sure that you're asking those quality questions, to the seller, to the mortgage officer, to the broker, to whomever you're actually dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a team effort, Raul, is what you're saying. Basically, it is a team effort.
Totally, of course. Everybody has to be in tune.
Yeah. I mean, if you didn't want to buy that property, and here's what it was. Once I spoke with them, we sat down, we went over all the numbers and showed them, wow, you're struggling here for $700 a month income, but then I'm giving you an opportunity to have and save $1,600 a month. I think numbers don't lie. And that's when she just broke down and said, I'm tired of that place. And you hit the hot button with these people. You hit the hot button by asking these questions. And it's just asking, guys. I don't go and dictate to people. I've never done that. And don't ever do that, because you're going to lose that client. But I've always asked the questions. Always think of questions to ask, and in your mind formulating, which is what I do, formulating how are we going to help you achieve the American dream of homeownership once again. Because that's really what it is. This was her dream home, Raul. And you knew that, basically. I mean, she just was doing everything she could. And, the husband was hesitant a little bit, but after, we broke him down and made him realize, hey, you don't have to go to this. You don't have to deal with the management company. You don't have to deal with that property anymore. You don't have to expend, out of that rent income dollars and, for changing the water heater or the plumbing that you had to go do the other day. And when you break it down in simple terms is that, here now they're living in this house. They have no issues, no problems. They're relaxing in this home right now.
8,000 square feet house.
8,000.
3 levels, 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. I mean, they are living the life large at a even cheaper than what they had before on every scale of the way. So, Mr. Ed, how can people get in touch with you? There's been several people that have asked, how can they connect with you directly?
So I've got this PDF, and on the bottom here, before we close, I just want to let you know that I also have a source for a hard money lender. She has helped several of our investors as well. Her name is Leela Neary, and that's her number with ANCAP Capital. Give her a call if you've got a deal that you want to work out. I just sent my emails, both of my emails. I've sent my phone number. If you are interested, shoot me an email. I can shoot this PDF off to you. And go ahead and email it to you, everybody. It's just plain and simple, guys. Again, knowledge is power, but using it the right way, as Raul mentioned. You know, formulating ways to work together as a team. Team play is better than I play, right? And the bottom line is you succeed a lot more faster as well. Are there any other questions you guys have?
Yeah, if there's any questions, we can go ahead and you can guys go ahead and shoot them out here on the chat. But I want to go ahead and add in closing, while we're waiting for the questions, if there's any, you know, that basically you got to think when finding deals, you got to be open, ladies and gentlemen, for creativity. And I'm going to give you one piece, a ninja tip, okay? A creativity of it, thinking outside of the box. It's interesting because it was a combination of that creativity. When you act in a creative way, do you believe that you're going to encounter other people that are creative? And I believe so. I bet if you're working on your creativity, you're going to attract other creative people. And let me explain why. I don't know if you know this, Mr. Ed, but my real estate broker, Juan Carlos, who basically, you know, he lists most of the properties, not all of them, but most of them.
Right.
It's interesting because I told him one day, and we've been successful at this, not once, but many times over and over. And this is something that the audience may know or may not know. And pretty much if they know and they're not doing it, see, to know and not to do is as good as not knowing. And then later on, you can't cry about it. It's like you knew.
Right.
You're not doing it is because there's not a burning desire, right? So I told Mr. Juan Carlos, I said, listen, you know how on the MLS, there is an agent remarks when somebody puts a property on the market, there's a section somewhere in the MLS that says agent remarks. And I told Juan, I said, listen, go ahead and put there on the agent remarks that if you buy my seller's house, my seller will buy yours. So basically, that's how he ended up basically with this buyer. And the buyer ended up now with you because Juan Carlos took it to you. Right. The buyer couldn't qualify, but you know, we knew she was working hard to get this house for months. Yep. You know, we went under contract with somebody else, followed off contract. She came back, and then we got under contract again with somebody else, and then she came back. So that's when you were like, you know what, you know. At that point, Juan Carlos says, you got to go with my lender. Went to you. The moment it went to you, you obviously said, you got to do this or else it's not, you know. Right. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't like that you proposed it, the savings that she was going to save double and living on her dream home versus not living in her dream home and making just $700. Yep. So bottom line, that little phrase, ladies and gentlemen, has brought in so many deals. And today, the entire team, which is composed of many different people, they know how I like to work, and we make it creative. So creative mind will connect with other creative minds.
Can I interject here about how Juan Carlos and I met?
Sure.
We met last year, folks, and he was referred to me because of the fact that he had clients that had been turned down. What did I say? 40% of my business is turned down from banks and other lenders. And someone just said, you need to go see Ed. So we got his clients in, and he goes, can I write an offer? Can I write an offer? No. Here's another thing. If there are loan officers listening, you do not allow your people to write offers, period, until you have that file underwritten. That's the only successes I have are underwritten files and how fast we can close them. So he brought that client. I said, no, there's some quirks on their income. I need verification of employment. So we're having difficulty with them. It took us a whole month to get those buyers approved, underwritten. And because of the homework we did, and he was going, oh, Ed, you know, come on, I got to get these buyers in contract. I'm going to lose them. They're going to go somewhere else. I go, no. I said, they're Spanish speaking, of course, hablo español. And so we ended up helping them get approved. And as soon as we got them approved, he wrote a contract and we closed that thing in 10 working days. And he goes, I don't need any other lenders, Ed. You're my lender from now on. And that's how we met, folks. And that's how I meet people. And just like Raul, and just like hopefully you down the road, is because of the fact that we do our homework first.
You know what's the funny thing, Ed? That in this past year, I could almost assure you that we've probably that you've done probably half a dozen, if not more, loans on my properties that I was not aware that it was you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right?
Obviously, that's why I made it a point on saying, you know what, let's just get connected.
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and wrap up. What are just, anything else that you want to go ahead and add to the, to the people that are here connected?
Do your homework. The only thing I can tell you is you're only as good as your last transaction, right? But you've got to do your homework. You don't want headaches. You don't want to go 30 days and selling your property like Raul, and then all of a sudden the buyers don't qualify because the lender or loan officer or processor missed something.
True.
You need to make sure that they cover all the bases up front. I may not do as fast of a job as I've done with Raul, but because there are certain circumstances, you're dealing with all walks of life. And some people take longer to get us stuff. Some people take, or don't have the stuff, and we have to do a workaround. We have to do certain things that we do in our industry that I've done based on experience and past experiences. So you need to do your homework. You need to make sure, and any agent that's bringing you an offer, ask them, let me see an underwriting disposition. Because that's what I saw. That's what I sent to Raul. I sent on after those people that have been declined, I sent him in 4 days an underwriter disposition. Fully approved, guys. When you get a buyer on that property, you want to see the underwriter disposition, because anybody can do a pre-qual, anybody can run a DU, desktop underwriter, or loan prospector. Anybody can do those and insert any numbers they want. Until you have that underwriting disposition.
Underwriting disposition.
Yep, and I send that with an approval letter, and my approval letter says pre-approval on top. Doesn't say pre-qualification. There's a difference, guys. Now, will I do a pre-qualification? Well, yeah. If I've got a guy that's got money in the bank, he's got a 800 FICO score, he's been on the job for 20 years. Yeah, I'll send a pre-qualification out because I know that's a slam dunk. Right? I mean, we love those ones. But the ones, I get excited when I help people like your clients, Ro. I get excited because, they break down and finally said, oh my God, thank you. And oh my God, she was crying, and that I never thought I'd get into this place.
The day that we closed, she basically, texted everybody and said, listen, because of you guys, I know that in this lifetime I accomplished, and once again, it's just freaking because it's that's part of, we can get all the closings and all that, but and on Facebook, on my social media sites, I don't post all my closings. I post the ones that people can relate to. Right. That
people that were turned down and now they're in their home. The people that thought they could never own a home from the beginning, and now they're in their home. Believe me, guys, some of my postings and my videos that I have on there, I've worked one guy 2.5 years, a year, 6 months, 3 months, just to help them and guide them. And we're here to educate, guys. We're also like Raul. It's a passion to help people. And that's what we do here. And boiling down to what it takes is doing your homework.
Totally.
I just can't stress enough of that. I also want to share with you, because of that fact, you can go to Amazon.com and look at the ultimate guide to finding the perfect home loan. I don't know if you can see that.
We can't see it. It's not
sharing. Hold on.
But so in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, just understand that you guys, and there you go. I mean, there's the book that if you want to learn more about how to acquire. And it's important. Trust me, it's really important. Even until today, like as an investor, yeah, you got to make sure that whoever is making offers, like he said, that it's people that really qualified and that are not playing you games. I want to go ahead and wrap up, and I want to congratulate every single one that we're able to connect. And one of the things is just, do your homework, get obviously knowledgeable, and keep in mind, there's ways to steal. I don't want to get nobody confused, because there's two different types of, there's many different types of loans. There is the traditional side and the non-traditional aspect. And you could still do deals with no money whatsoever. One of the things that, Ed and I spoke about basically is, how I go in with hard money on some of the deals, and then 6 months later, they're being refinanced. So keep in mind, for the investing, buy and hold side, what I'm saying is look at your options, because they're there. There's always solution to every problem. There's the law of the opposites that says that if the law of the opposite says there's no way that there could be a problem without a solution already attached to it, whether
Right.
you see it or you don't. If there's light, there's darkness. If there's an up, there's a down. If there's a left, there's a right. It's a law. Because it's a law and I didn't build it, I believe in it, okay? Meaning, I believe because I've seen it at work. So therefore, really appreciate the time, Mr. Ed, here with you. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for obviously, sharing your wisdom, and thank you for doing all those loans for people that I was not aware that you were the behind the scenes guy. So appreciate it.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. I want to just thank you and for the honor of being here with everybody. I hope we've enlightened a few of you people. We're just here to share with you. I get calls from other lenders. I get calls from real estate agents all the time asking me, and I'm here to give free information. I just, at this point in time in my life, all these years, I'm here to give back. When you think, and I'm going to leave you this with you, when you leave out the money and you think about serving, the money comes.
Absolutely.
It always comes, guys.
Absolutely.
Just like Raul's serving you and what he does for you guys, you guys think the same way. It always comes. So I'm going to leave that with you. Thank you for the opportunity, Raul. You guys just be blessed and have a great day, and call me on any questions you have.
You got it. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a phenomenal day, everybody. And we'll get to see you in the next weekly real estate talk show here with us. And congratulations. So remember, you got to make something happen with the knowledge that you're acquiring. Okay. Otherwise, then you lost your time. Thank you.
Thank you.